Okay, and welcome to the hard problem review. So we'll just say that these are the hard level review problems. Sorry for not having my title already. Hard level review problems. And let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first one says given ABC is isosceles. That means we know that two sides here are going to be congruent, and that AB is congruent to AC. Well, I can put two tick marks there, two tick marks there. Find the measure of the vertex angle when angle ACB, let's use this as a purple, ACB, that's that angle right there, is 3 parentheses 4x plus 14. I don't know why they did backwards parentheses. And then we also have our other angle, CAB, CAB, which is right there, will be 5x plus 12. Now notice that that is a vertex angle. So what are we going to do? In the specific case where we're given the vertex and the base, remember we're always going to do 2 times the base plus the vertex is equal to 180. Now what's that going to look like in this case? Well, let's say 2 times our base, which remember our base here is 3 parentheses 4x plus 14. And then, of course, we're going to add that with our vertex, so plus 5x plus 12 is equal to 180. Now let me go ahead and do some simplifying for y'all. First things first, when you have a number on the outside of a parentheses being multiplied by another number on the outside of parentheses, you simply only multiply those two numbers. 2 times 3 is, of course, 6. So we have now 6 times 4x plus 14 plus 5x plus 12 is equal to 180. Now I'm going to go one step further with y'all because this is a tough problem. I would now distribute my 6 times 24, or 6 times 4x is 24x. 6 times 14 would be plus 84, I think, right? 6 times 10 is 60, yep. And then, of course, from there, we would add it back to the vertex angle. 5x plus 12 is equal to 180. Now, from here, I leave y'all to solve for x on your own, but the question says find the measure of the vertex angle. So we know we're going to plug that into the 5x plus 12 to get our final answer. So whatever x is, we plug that into the 5x plus 12, and then we'll have our answer. Alright, let's move on to problem number 12. Okay, here we have problem number 12. It says find the measure of angle 3. Notice that angle 3 is right there. And we're given that AB is parallel to CD. So we can put some little arrows right there. And ASU is 129 degrees. So I go over here to ASU and I write 129. Now from there, we also are given that VRU, let me use purple here, VRU is equal to 87. And when I look, I see that VRU is this interior angle right here of 87. Okay, what in the world are we going to do to start this? Well, if y'all will recall, these are the problems where we always want to draw our an auxiliary line going through the point where these two transversals connect, and that our auxiliary line is actually always going to be parallel to the other two parallel lines, AB, and also parallel to CD. Now, knowing that, that's actually pretty crucial. Our next step is to say, you know what, any two angles on a straight line must add up to 180. So if I do 180 minus 129, what am I going to get? Well, I know 180 minus 129 is going to be 51 degrees, which means that that is now 51 degrees. Now you'll notice that this is a corresponding angle to the top portion of the 87. So I can put that 51 right there as a part. So what do we know? We know that if the whole thing is going to be 87, we can subtract the top part, which is of course 51, and we are going to get a remaining angle of 36. So that means that this bottom portion right here is 36, which also means that this corresponding angle here is 36 as well. Now how how in the world are y'all going to go from the 36 to find the missing angle 3? I leave you to do that. Okay, this is a hard problem. It says given points D and E are midpoints. We know that that means that these two lines will be congruent, and of course those two lines will be congruent if in fact D and E are midpoints. It then says find the length of AC when we're given that AC is 4 parentheses 3x minus 12, and we're also given that DE is 3x. Now, I want to caution y'all here to try and remember your vocabulary. If D and E are midpoints, that means that DE is in fact a mid-segment. And what do we know about a mid-segment? We know that it is half the length of the base. So, more or less, we are simply going to have to multiply this by 2. 2 times 3x will have to be equal to 4 parentheses 3x minus 12. Now I'm going to do a couple things because there's a tricky part in this math that I want y'all to be very aware of. 2 times 3x is of course 6x, and 4 times 3x is 12x, and 4 times negative 12 is negative 48. Normally, I would always encourage y'all to move the smaller x. However, the smaller x is by itself, the larger x and the constant are on the same side. If we subtract our larger x, the minus 12x, we'll wind up getting negative 6x is equal to negative 48. Notice my x's are already on one side and my constants are already on the other. Well, of course, we divide both sides by negative 6, and x will equal positive 8. Now I leave you to finish it. How will you take x equals positive 8 and find the length of AC on your own? Alright, let's go on. Okay, in 14 it says what is the length of A prime or A double prime B double prime? So let's do a couple things here. One, let's identify here is A double prime B double prime, and here is AB. Now notice these shapes seem to have been rotated and dilated. If I put 5x plus 7 and I say that that is equal to 42x minus 17, would you say that that is a true or false statement? And hopefully you would clearly say that that's false. We need to multiply our small side here, because remember this is the small side and this is the large side. We need to multiply this small side by a scale factor that will make it larger. Well, what sides do we have corresponding? We have C double prime, D double prime, and that would of course have to correspond to CD. So remember, your scale factor is always, if you're going from the small to the large shape, it's always large over small. Or in this case, we'll do 35 divided by 7, which is 5. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll do 35 divided by our corresponding side, 5, which is 7. So when you put a 7 there, this will allow you to solve for x. Now from there, it's actually asking us what is the length of A double prime B double prime. So of course we'll do 42x minus 17, where y'all are going to plug in your x, the question mark. Okay, let's move on to the last problem of this section, problem number 15. Okay, problem number 15. In the diagram, quadrilateral WXYZ is rotated to create quadrilateral W prime, X prime, Y prime, Z prime. Now guys, whenever you're rotating, just know that that means that these two things will still be congruent. If you take your phone and you rotate it in front of you, you'll see that it doesn't change size. So we can actually just very simply say, you know what, 3 over 4 times 6x plus 10 is equal to 13x minus 35. Now I know y'all tend to sometimes struggle with fractions. So I'm going to do the fraction multiplication with y'all by first taking the 6 and the 10 and putting them over 1. Now when I multiply 3/4 by 6 over 1, 3 times 6, or top times top, is 18 over 4x. And over here, 3 times 10 is plus 30 over 4 times 1 is 4. And of course that equals 13x minus 35. Now what I would do from here, if I were y'all, I would actually just turn these into decimals. So 18 divided by 4 is 4.5x. And 30 divided by 4 is going to be plus 7.5. And that equals 13x minus 35. Y'all are capable of solving for x from there. And lastly, when it says, what is the length of w prime z prime? Well, y'all just have to plug your x in there. So whatever x equals, let's say we'll take this w prime z prime, 13x minus 35, and we will plug in our missing value of x. Okay? I'll see y'all in our final video coming up.